So, hey everyone, Eric and I want to invite you to our second general body meeting. So pretty much today we're going to go over some introductions of myself and Eric. We're going to go over the GMIS raffle ticket winners. I saw that all three of them are here, I think. And we're also going to talk about some MAES upcoming events. And finally, we're going to have a guest speaker today, Lyka Gutierrez from Boeing. She's going to be going over how to do a professional resume.
So what is MAES? So when I first joined MAES last year, it was my first year here. I just transferred as a EE student. And then I found MAES and it helped me build my resume. My resume from last year was a lot, I don't know, when you look back at your first resume, you could always see how much you improved it. So MAES, it teaches a lot of professional and career skills. So it teaches networking, it improves your soft skills, and interviewing and resume building skills.
All right, so moving on to Familia. If you ask many of our officers why they joined MAES, you're gonna hear a lot about the people. You know, we're really close to each other, especially now in COVID. You know, it's nice to see other people's faces, interact with other students, right? And we just try to motivate and assist students. So we do that through a network of support. So that's going to include these GBMs where we go over some information. Also our Primos program that I'm going to talk about in a bit. You know, we try to mentor and help our fellow students out. The main goal of our club is going to be the impact we leave on our community. You know, so that's going to be you guys. You know, so any way we could help out, we try to be there. All right, so my name is Fabian Breeze. I'm the secretary. I'm the one who's been sending all those lengthy emails. I'm a fourth year chemical engineering major. I should be graduating next spring. We'll cross our fingers on that one. My hobbies include traveling, weight training, and spending time with my two dogs that you see there. The picture on the bottom is actually from last winter break. I went to Big Sur. It was kind of like a camping road trip I did. It's actually really cool. My favorite smell, no surprise, gonna be campfire. You know, love to travel, love to camp.
And my name is Eric Perez. I'm the vice president for this year. I'm a fifth year and I'm an EE student. Some of my hobbies include hiking, listening to music, anything from hip hop to house music. I like running. As you can see there, I went on a hike in San Diego. It's called Cuyamaca Peak. Highly recommend it whenever you guys are in the area. And my favorite study song is Cowboy Bebop. It's just like a playlist on YouTube that I found.
All right, so moving on to our raffle winners. So I know I saw three of them here. So we have Gino Franco, he's a civil engineering junior. Our second winner is Eileen Rodriguez. I'll give you guys a chance to say hi in a bit, sorry. Eileen Rodriguez, computer engineering senior, and Jessica B. Banuelos, computer science junior.
Thank you for having me here, or thank you for pulling me in the raffle. I'm really grateful and looking forward to my first national conference.
I'll say something. Thank you for the opportunity. I just had my first webinar today, so it was pretty awesome. Thanks.
I'm Aileen Rodriguez. Thanks for the opportunity. I as well went to the first webinar today and it was awesome. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, we're all happy to hear, you know, you guys could be a part of it. We want to thank everyone that participated. We want to say that hopefully we can have some more raffles for you guys down in the future. Keep your eye out on social media or through the emails that I'll be sending out.
And we'd like to thank our sponsors, Alex Viramontes. He's an engineering supervisor. He graduated from Cal Poly Pomona, so he's a former Bronco, and he's currently pursuing his master's in engineering management. And we'd also like to thank Delilah Nunez. She's a system director at the Aerospace Corporation, and she's a former MAES president.
Hi, Fabian. This is Delilah Nunez with the Aerospace Corporation. I am present.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You know, our students are really appreciative.
No, just on behalf of myself, We have an organization at the Aerospace Corporation called ALMA. It's the Aerospace Latino Members Association. So think of it as an extension of MAES, so to speak. But for all of us that work at the company, ALMA, right? Multiple souls, but one spirit. We recognize that as Latinos, we're representative of multiple cultures. While very similar in some contexts, there's also diversity amongst us. So that's what our organization stands for. But we were able to, I worked with the ALMA president. I myself was a former ALMA president, and we were able to squeeze it out of our budget. Our fiscal year budget closes literally tomorrow. So we managed to squeeze that out. We do our best to continue to support you in all your efforts. In the past, we've tried to support your engineering extravaganza. I know under these COVID times, things are slightly different this and potentially next year. But we're here and we look forward to continuing to support you all. It's MAES is an opportunity for all of you and those who are new to MAES to leverage that. And it's a great foundation to get you moving forward into the direction of your career choices within the engineering discipline. So again, congratulations to the winners. I hope you guys benefit from the conference.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And I know Alex is here too, right?
Yeah, so from my standpoint, it's a little different. My company didn't sponsor it. I just voluntarily, from my own money, just volunteered to donate to this cause. I mean, I believe in these events. I attended a couple of different events from different clubs, and it really helped me in my career. And I encourage everyone to go out there and network. So that's the reason I myself just donated the money. As previously mentioned, COVID is hard times, and there wasn't any funding for that, but that didn't stop me just for giving you guys the opportunity to take advantage of this. For some of you that didn't end up winning, I still encourage you guys to go network as much as possible, virtually network as an obstacle that might be. You still need to get out there and meet people, because it's definitely helped me in my career to be where I'm at today. And I know it can help you guys as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you both. Thank you to everyone that participated. All right, so some upcoming events. So like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna have the Primos program. So the application the date to apply is gonna be this Friday. It's gonna be the last date. So what is the Primos program? So it's pretty much a mentorship that we're trying to set up for you guys. So you apply, you tell us your year, your major, etc. We try to pair you with another upperclassman of the same major or similar major. You can meet with them once a week, twice a week, whatever works for both of the schedules. We pretty much just try to build a better support system for you guys. If you guys have any questions about engineering, about a specific major, I definitely encourage you guys to participate, or maybe, you're just having trouble managing your time or just anything like that. Could really be helpful for you guys. So another upcoming event that we have is going to be our Chipotle fundraiser. I really encourage all you guys to participate. We do need to reach a certain amount of money, so definitely bring your friends, your family. It's going to be October 4th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Chipotle in the traffic circle. So pretty much you go in, you buy your burritos, whatever. Make sure to tell the cashier beforehand that you're here to support MAES, show the flyer. If you don't want to leave your house, you can also support by ordering online through the Chipotle website, the Chipotle app. We have a special code that you can put in there before checkout. So I definitely encourage you guys to go. Maybe we'll see one of you guys from a distance eating burritos in our car or something. All right.
And our last event is the Google Career Panel. The deadline to RSVP is October 5th. It's going to be on October 12th. And we're going to have 4 CSULB alumni. So if you have any questions, just feel free to message us at info@csulbmaes.org. or just message us on our Discord.
All right, so that's gonna be it for us. And up next, we have Lyka with some professional resume building.
So my name is Lyka Gutierrez. I'll get to more of my introductions. You can see on the front here that I put my email here. I'm very open with you guys hitting me up with any questions about how do interviews work, what are references, going into, like, let's say you're getting like a clearance, things like that. Like, if any questions you have, please feel free to ask me. If I don't know the answer, I know people who do know the answer. So I can reroute your questions to people that I know and just to help you out. So just feel free to email me any type of questions to help you out with your professional career. So that being said, I'll go into resumes just really quick. So I graduated in 2019. I currently work at the Boeing company. Those who are attending GMIS, that's actually where I got my offer to work at Boeing. I am currently working as a maintenance programs engineer for the 737 NG and MAX. So those people who make the manuals on when you're supposed to fix the plane, I am one of those people. So the general rule that people know about, changing oil in a car is 3 months. It's kind of like I am the person who kind of makes the timeline when you're supposed to change out like a gear or filters and things like that. So, and I work with the regulators, so FAA, and also the operators as well. And all three of us make those decisions to make the planes more airworthy. A lot of people don't know I'm actually from Indiana. So coming to California and staying in California, it was through school. As you can see here, these are the positions I took. I kind of did it backwards on accident. So the first position I ever held was high school relations. I made a junior chapter at Wilson High School that's down the street from CSULB. It died when I wasn't part of that position anymore. And then I was VP. I was talking about some of the events with the officers that were on call. So one of the events as VP, I made alumni night that's got pretty big. And then I became region rep. So I was in charge of the 13 chapters all along the West Coast, bringing them together and doing like social events. One of the biggest social events, again, that I told the officers that were on call was the MAES Games, which was a decathlon that did one at North and one in South. It was pretty fun. Right now, I dropped off my last year of MAES and became the co-founder and president of the SACE, so the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers that you see around campus. And then when I got into my professional career, I am a secretary for 3 of these orgs at Boeing. So Boeing Familia, Boeing Asian Professional Association, Boeing Native American Network. And then on top of all of that, I am a SACE LA Pro chapter co-founder. I stepped down from president because I was so overwhelmed. But yes, so you can see I do a lot, not for funsies. It's more for, I know people need certain things. And I hated that I didn't have these tools or these events or these connections. So I made them so that make sure that the years that are coming up, they have the opportunity to use these and utilize these for their professional development. I'm gonna start from scratch first. So for those who have a resume, bear with it. I'm so sorry you have to go through it. I'm gonna go into add-ons on how to create an objective. This is really important. A lot of people mess this up. And then GPA, does it matter to be on your resume? And then I will take the time to go over resumes. So this presentation will take around 30 minutes. I do stay the whole time past the hour to review everyone's resumes. So those who are the officers in charge, when I'm done with the presentation, I'll pass it to you guys to do your final closing statements, and then I'll get into reading through people's resumes. I also invited professionals from Boeing to join. I don't know if they will join to help grade everyone's resumes, but they're supposed to join in 15 minutes. So let's see if they do join. Okay, so starting from scratch. So I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't need to see my face. As you can see here, this is my resume. This is actually my last resume before I got my job at Boeing. There are things missing in my resume, but I still got a job. So please take a breather. Yes, your resume is gonna be the thing that's gonna set you apart to tell people who you are, but it's not the end of the world if you have a bad resume. There's always a next time to see the same recruiters. There's always a next time to apply online, to apply like at other networking events. Just don't worry about it. So the basic outline, as you can see here, objective, I'll get to that. I didn't put an objective. Usually in general resumes, I don't put an objective because I don't know who I'm passing my resume to. So why would I make an objective when I have no idea who's going to receive it? So, and then the first thing for sure on the list would be your education. I'll go into these individually. Your skill set, these are my skill sets. Work experience will be here. And then leadership, organization, and community service. Those kind of mix around. They can be, to be honest, they're kind of interchangeable, and I'll show you how they're interchangeable with that. You can see from the dates that everything is descending chronological order. They want to know what you're doing recently, and they still kind of want to see what you're doing after. The order can, and these sections here, like education, skill set, work experience, it varies between student. What my resume looks like might not benefit you. You might have projects. You don't see projects listed in mine. If you have projects, most likely you're going to put that there instead of like organization and community service. So it really does depend. The idea is that this resume showcases who you are and why you're so amazing, why they should like hire you. So education. So list all your colleges. Normally they will like to see all your colleges, especially if those college classes that you took were like engineering classes or any of the technical classes that you need that would help you with your degree. Make sure you put when you went to those schools, like when you graduated or when you got a certificate. Your GPA, I'll talk about more why is it not important to put GPA and why it is important. Just know for CSULB students, your GPA, you actually have 3 different ones. You have an overall GPA that includes those who are transferred, those GPA that you had like at a CC, it applies to that overall. You have your major GPA, which is only your technical engineering classes. And then you have a CSULB GPA. Those are CSULB students. This doesn't really matter to you. This might matter more to the transfer students. So I totally suggest picking the highest GPA that you can find and putting it on there and just labeling it as like your major GPA or your overall GPA, or don't put CSULB GPA, just put like GPA for that one. Also, your major pursuing, I like to write the actual title, which you're going to get from your diploma. So I would put, so what I put here was like Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. That was what I put. If you have an associate's degree, list them. They look good. You need to, like, if you have an associate degree, like randomly, like something else, I think Victoria's doing Italian. She's gonna put that there. Graduation year, don't put what year you are. You could be a super senior, and like, why would you write that on your resume? So put the expected graduation year. That would really help when you're gonna be coming up. And technically, I don't put expected graduation year because if it's like out there like 2022, yeah, that's like your expected graduation year. I'm kind of stickler with words. And then any education type of accomplishments or scholarships, like you being on a dean's list, I think it will look great on education. Again, people do it their own way. They actually put certificates, achievements, like in their own title. So it's really up to you on how you want to do that. But make sure if you do have those things, you put them there. Okay, so going into skill sets, biggest one I know for sure would always be on skill set is your coding languages. And I'll show you on Addons, like other ways you can kind of justify like how proficient you are in your coding languages. Applications, I think I could show you some of mine. So you can see on mine, I put MATLAB in there. SolidWorks was a CADing software that I used. FileMaker Pro, that's like me doing like filmmaking. I put that there just to fill space. So it's a kind of a balance on your resume. Like if you're a freshman and have nothing, try to fill that space as much as you can. But if you have like enough where you don't have to put like fillers in there, then you don't put it there. But make sure you list the applications that you know at least enough that if someone assigns you to do something, you can kind of find the answer without help. And then I see people who write out Microsoft programs like Excel, Word. Just don't do that. Just put an umbrella term, Microsoft Office programs. And if you don't know Excel, you need to learn Excel. You're an engineer. Excel is gonna help you with your going through college and even when you're like an adult. try to be proficient enough in Excel. Old school skills are really cool to have. Older people like it when they notice I put drafting, because I know how to draft by hand. And that kind of gives it gives those people an idea that you understand how that CAD softwares came to be and how that program was really written, because it's all pulled from how normal drafting happened. And then list the skills. Okay, so you list the skills, not the equipment. So like the example, like don't put you know how to work a soldering iron. Great. How about the action? Like you know how to solder. That sounds much better and it's more clean. Just listing equipment, it's going to take them a minute to understand. And the point of a whole resume, they normally read through it within not 30 seconds, within 30 seconds to see if they want to hire you or not. So if they trip up reading soldering iron, I don't know, some people are stickler, they'll see like, why is this on this resume? And then they don't hire you. Worst case scenario. So going into work experience, so you can see from my resume, I totally forgot something from there. So you have to name the company name, the highest position held. Don't list all the positions you had, just the highest position. And then when to when were you part of that company. So if you have multiple positions, you put those in the bullet points under, like, you know, this is what you did as like a tech, but now you're a manager or something. Make sure what's clean about it, because again, they're reading through it as fast. They like action verbs as the first word, and then you go out and then you write whatever you need to write. So let's read one of mine. So assisting quality control team to observing and reporting deformed items during forging process. Wow. Okay. So you see the action verb on there. Also make sure all the action verbs that are listed anywhere in your resume are all in the same tense. For mine, everything is in past tense. So these are some action verbs you could see, and you can look them up as well on different words. From people's feedback, they don't like seeing the same action verbs. So if you already said, what did I say? Assisting, don't use assisting again. Use a different word. There's multiple synonyms. Word of the day. Okay. So organizations, leadership, and community service. Again, these are pretty interchangeable because this all showcases who you are as a person. Most of these, if you see on mine, I list mostly leadership. What I did. So let's just go into this PowerPoint. So for your organization, list it if you are a paid member. If you're not a paid member and you're showing up to meetings, don't put your name on there. You're not a member. There's nothing like, you don't know if they're gonna pull out receipts like, oh, show me your membership. I'm not saying they do, but it's just bad practice to put, you know, the organization name and you're not a paid member. Also, and then I did put like, if you are involved in that organization, but not a paid member, but you did some like leadership or community service, put that in the other categories and then mention that organization. If you had positions, it looks really good. So when you list them out, make sure, especially even for the work-related stuff, always put what you did, not what your team did, not what the company does, not what your projects are. No, list exactly what you did for each of them. And if they look well enough that they ask you like, oh, what is this, you know, project that you did this for? Then you can explain your project. That will make them want to talk to you more. You don't have to explain that on your resume. Also awards. So I like putting awards on there just so, not the raffle awards, but like awards that you got elected for. Like if you go to GMIS and you're one of the award winners when you applied for like, what's it called? I'm drawing a blank. It's when you get free money. I just can't think of it right now. You should put that in there. So the next one is leadership. Leadership is really important. What a lot of people don't tell you is that, well, the general idea of what an engineer is like someone who likes to work alone, doesn't like to talk to people, doesn't know how to like talk about their products that they're doing and stuff like that. When now this day and age, as this, you know, they think of engineers, they need to know how to talk, they know how to talk technically, they need to know how to dumb it down for people who are investing, who don't know the technical talk, and all in between. So I highly suggest, if you don't have one, take up a leadership position. It can be as small as you're in charge of making sure you're sending out all the emails to the presenters during science extravaganza. That is a leadership role. You're in charge of that. If you F up, you know, none of those people are going to get anything. So I really do hope you guys challenge yourselves to do some type of leadership and put that on your resume, because it looks really good and it's really important to have that type of communication skills. And being a leader kind of showcases that you have some type of communication skills with people. And then of course, community service can be listed there. So on the side, don't repeat any of the same duties. Like if you're saying you're like a leadership, your leadership duties, like in organizations, don't put the same thing under like a leadership topic. You got to do something different. So for what I did on leadership topics, I did, if I was like leading like a project in the class or something, I would put that in leadership. Should you only put positions related to our major and field? So if you don't have positions related to your field, you should still put it, especially if you don't have any experience or work experience. Like I said, there's other categories, like projects is a big one. If you don't have any related work or related positions with that, you can join a club right now and be part of that and put that on your resume. So like I truly suggest joining like the beach launch team, doing like beach hacks. You can go into Maker Society and learn how to 3D print, things like that. These are things that can kind of compensate for not having enough positions. Like you can see it on my resume, if you can see my screen. Oof, hold on. And minimize that. You could see that I have one that's like all, like these are all outreach. These are like either an outreach event, these are like me tutoring. Yeah, it has like some engineering or something in there. Like SOAR, I was a SOAR advisor. That's totally not engineering, and I put that there. You kind of need to think of the idea of like when someone reads this, what are they going to perceive you as? So when they see a SOAR advisor and they're reading like what I did, like I'm advising students, I'm helping them get acquainted with CSULB, I'm being outgoing when I'm doing that. You know, that kind of gives, you know, those qualities, that tells the qualities of who you are to that recruiter. Okay, is there any more questions? Yeah, no problem. Do you recommend people putting their coursework? So I don't like coursework, but people put it and it's normal and that's okay. It's really up to you. If you need space to fill, put it. Yeah, Cynthia's telling you, yeah, put it. So that's why I'm saying like skill set is really big. Like whatever coursework you had, you know, whatever like programs you use through those courseworks, you know, you're gonna put that in your skill set. For me, when I think of coursework, you're already going through, you know, your major. Like they assume you're gonna go into like stuff that it's like common for your major to go through. Like if you're doing, I don't know, if you're a mechanical engineer, they know for sure you're gonna do dynamics. So it doesn't really matter if you list you're doing dynamics. That's my opinion. And you can see another like alumni has a different opinion, like you put coursework. So again, like it's really up to you and how you want to sell yourself and how to put it. But if you really want to put your coursework, you know, just put it. Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. Sorry, that was like horrible. Okay. So when you submit your resume, it goes through a filter. So these are add-ons that I have seen that people have been doing that I thought was pretty cool, and I do one of them. So for those computer science majors that are in the call, this is normally happening that I see CS students use. So this shows how proficient you are in like the software. And you could do that for anything else. Like if you want to do that for like SolidWorks, things like that. Like if you're really confident that you know your stuff and you kind of want to showcase how good you are, you can use that for your skill set. I think they code these. They either code it themselves or they use Excel to code it. There's different ways to do it. You can just Google skill bar chart and you can find those. So another thing also I recommend doing is putting a QR code, especially if you have a LinkedIn account. So I know that my resume is going to go through so many people's hands and it's just a name on a resume. But if they see that LinkedIn account, they can put my face to that resume. They get to see who I am. And also I could put more information about the stuff that I did in my LinkedIn, and then they get to read more about it. So those are the two things that you could totally add to your resume that I know people don't really normally do, but can really help out. So the next one is how to stand out on your resume. So these are some of the fonts I see people use with their resume to make it stand out. A lot of you guys, a lot of people don't really think about this. You know, they do like Times New Roman, like that is like the standard, like a lot of resumes are done. You know, you can change it, right? You can change how it looks. If there's something you're more comfortable that looks nice, like if you like Georgia, what is that called? I'm not gonna pronounce it. Yeah, you can choose one of these and use it for your resumes. It'll pop out, it'll look different, like a sea of resumes, and you see your resume, you know, with different fonting, it's gonna catch an eye. Same for types of paper. There are different types of paper. I don't recommend scented resumes, but you know, it'll set you apart if you're about it. But you don't have to do it. I mean, you could rub your resume on your cologne and like give it to them. But the thing I really want to talk about is kind of like how you print it. There's like the hard paper, like when you wiggle it, it makes like a noise, or you can make the soft paper. I totally suggest doing something a little heavier, like a cardstock type of paper is pretty cool. And it feels great on your hand and you know exactly like that's your resume. Don't change the size of the paper or anything, like keep it standard, but the change, just change how you print it out would be really helpful. And then understand that you don't have to stick with plain white paper. There's different colors papers that people use to stand out more. And like a sea of papers that it gets printed and yours is ivory or like a darker, like, you know, cream color or something, it's gonna stick out. So these are just ways you can do this. It's really up to your preference and how you want yourself to be perceived. And it's totally fine to change up your style and things like that. But I highly suggest taking into account on how you present your resume, because it really does matter and it really does set you apart from others. So let's go into how to create an objective. So everyone makes an objective that is not specific, that is so general, like you want, yeah, we know you want experience in the field. You don't have to write that. We know that you have a background in your classes. You don't have to write about that either. You need to write exactly what you are looking for. So that's why I say I never put an objective in my general resumes, because it's just gonna go to random people. And when I say general, I have multiple types of resumes. I have resumes that I'm gonna post online. I have types of resumes that I'm gonna give to people, resumes that are specific to certain people and things like that. And it's okay to have different versions saved. I also have versions with my GPA and without my GPA. Those are like other ones too. So I'm just gonna break it down really fast. To obtain a blank at blank, to work with blank with my experience or skills in blank. Pick one or the other, experience or skills. Don't put a slash in there. So the first one, blank, that you're gonna put is the position. What are you applying for? What is it? If you know the name of position, put it there. I totally would put a rec number in like parentheses or something, just so that they know, they could check if you apply to it, or they know exactly what rec number it is. That's how they tell that's how they categorize each position, through numbers. And you could see that on like all the online websites when you apply. What you're generally looking for. So internship, full-time, part-time. Part-time is usually for people who are part-time students, usually applying for those. If you're a full-time student and still have another year of school left, you'll do internships. And if you're about to graduate, you will do full-time. So that's how you're gonna be putting that in there. The second one is the company you work for, that you want to work for. Try to put the whole name on there, like the Boeing company, not just like Boeing. It looks more nicer if you know the whole name. Don't give this resume to anyone else but that company, or else they'll be looking like, why are you coming to us when you're dressing, you know, Boeing? So make sure you know exactly which resume is going to who. The next blank, which is number 3, is what company projects and what types of projects do you want to get involved in? So this requires you to research your company. Again, I understand you're going through, you just want a job. You kind of need to know what these people are doing generally. So I generally knew Boeing did planes, and I kind of like being in commercial. I didn't want to be in defense. So I actually looked up what commercial stuff did they do. I actually was interested in their satellites because it was pretty cool. And, you know, list those types of project names in there, or like that, like a general idea of what a project is. Like, you want to build satellites. I don't think you should be putting like a specific project, because the specific projects that you will list, they might be like done already and you can't really join those projects anymore. And then the last one would be, what kind of skills or experiences do you have that will help apply yourself to that project that you really want to work on? When I say what skills and experience, what you currently have. So when you hand that resume, what do you know now that's going to help, you know, be part of that team? And that would really set you apart. So like, let's say if you're like a mechanical engineer, but you want to, no, let's go backwards. Let's say you're a CS major and you want to apply to a mechanical engineering type of field, right? Because you want to code for them or something. So you can be writing your skill set to a certain project that you want to do. Let's say you want to, I don't know, you want to help make a device, but you want to code that device. But most of what people apply to for that project will be like mechanical engineers. So people aren't going to really think of you wanting to apply for it. But if you specifically write out like you want this project with these skill sets, and you have like other skills that can apply to that project that's not related to your major, it'll look really good there. So that's how you kind of have to write the objective. Don't write a paragraph. Paragraphs are horrible. 3 is a little too much. 2 is like, 1 is like amazing. So you got to kind of figure out how you're going to write this one-liner. It's pretty hard. That's why I kind of gave up on objectives, and I never put objectives in any of my resumes after my junior year. So it's really up to you if you want to keep it. It does look good. I do hear professionals say, hey, where's your objective? Why don't you have it? And I tell them straight up. So it's really your discretion if you want to keep it. And then, like I said, I was talking about the relevance of an objective. I told you, I already said all this, but yeah, the goal of the objective is to let the hiring manager know what your intentions of applying. And it's really important, especially if it's like a project they don't really view your major being part of. Like, I know people want to be in video games, like CS students will be applying to that. You know, art students will be applying for like video game, you know, companies as well and stuff like that. So it's really important to make sure you list out like what kind of skills really are applicable to the job you're applying for. So does GPA matter? So the rule of thumb for GPAs, it kind of breaks down. So we'll put like when to add. If your GPA is bomb, like 4.0 above, 3.0 above, you should put it. It's a really good GPA. It's gonna look great. It's gonna set you apart. I see cutouts now that's like 3.2 for some reason, but 3.0 is pretty good to keep on your resume. Now, if you have a GPA of 3.0 to 2.5, only by adding, I only added during the career fairs I went to, but when I applied online, I took that off. I never put that on there. Like what Cynthia said in the comments, they do search through your resume, and it's kind of sad, you submit your resume and then you have to type out your resume again through their system. So you're basically doing the same thing twice. But what you need to make sure is that whatever you're typing when you're applying and on your resume, make sure there's keywords into it. Like what Cynthia said, you can go into that position, see what kind of keywords that's popping up that you see, proficient in Excel and something like that. Like if you have those words in your resume will pop up online within that online submission to those hiring managers to pull your resume. And one of the harder things too is that if your resume has like a low GPA, it's cut, it's gone. It's not, they're never going to see it. And it's pretty sad. And it's more sad when you're applying online and they ask you to type your GPA, then you know for sure you're cut. So just be really mindful about when you're applying online. When to not add your GPA, I suggest not doing it when you're 2.9, 2.49 and totally, dead. You shouldn't be in school with a 0.0. I wouldn't list it. I technically didn't list my GPA and I had like a 2.8 when I applied for Boeing and they asked for it and stuff. But if your GPA is so low, don't let them see it first. Let them look through your resume basically before they start asking, where's your GPA? Because again, you know, it varies between hiring manager, recruiter, and also per student. If you can sell yourself in a way that that GPA won't matter, you don't even need it on your resume. And even with my 2.8, I sold the shit out of myself to a point where they're like, yeah, I want to hire you. So yeah, that's why GPAs really suck, and it's really hard to figure out when and when not to put it. But then just make sure, like, if it's lower, make sure you have 2 different resumes, one for going to like conferences and like seeing people in person, and then one for applying online, because the ones that are online for sure don't list your GPA if it's under 3.0. And then I talked about these GPAs. Again, remember, you have 3 GPAs as a CSULB student, and you just pick one with the highest one and put that on your resume. It doesn't, you're not lying. You're really like telling them what your GPA is. You're just telling them that, you know, you were bad at your GEs. Okay. So I'm gonna go into reviewing resumes. I kind of went over what like the basics of a resume and things like that. I went pretty fast. Does anyone have any questions that I did not address? I think I addressed what people asked earlier.
I kind of had a question about the GPA. Like, so there's some positions where like they say must be a 3.5 or higher, like online.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still recommend, like, if we have like 3.2 or 3.3, like for us to like still put our GPA there, or just because like you explained earlier how like whenever we submit our resumes online, like it kind of like scans through our resume. So then, like, do you think that if we have something below a 3.5 when they're asking for it, it will just kick us out? Or
so it depends on the company. So they could say like 3.5 on like the job posting, but then their like machine is cutting off everyone at a 3.0. You just don't know how the companies are kind of configuring those things. So it's really up to you. Like, if you want to apply for it, just apply for it. You know, like, what are you going to lose? You're just going to get a rejection letter. You spent like 15 minutes applying. It's just 15 minutes of your life that you lost. But, you know, there's 2 sides of the coin. You either get a rejection letter or, you know, they ask you for an interview. So it's really up to your discretion if you want to take the time to do it. And I highly suggest doing so. I'll just say I applied to Boeing online at least 50 times throughout my college career. Every email I got was a rejection because my GPA sucked. And yeah, online is pretty hard to me for applying because there's just so many cutoffs. I didn't do the filter thing. I was too lazy to do the filter thing, like where you put like the keywords and stuff in your resume. I was like, I just applied. But I did better when I was like in person. So it's really up to you how much time and effort you really want to put into applying online. Okay, so 2 new ones. My CSULB also tells you your upper division GPA. Yeah, that's what it is. That's the. So is there any more questions before I move on to grading?
I actually did have a question.
Yeah.
For people with like long work experiences, because I've been like working since high school.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, you know, and it's not really relevant to any engineering. Really, like, how far back should you go? Like, should you just list them? Should you still list your responsibilities in that job, or where do you cut?
So you have to look at the other parts of your resume, like skill set, leadership, projects, outreach, things like that. If you want to make room for those, then cut out like the lowest, the oldest job posting you put on your resume, and then just keep going. Yeah, like, I know it really depends on how much space you want to leave out, leave for the other material. But if you have unrelevant work and you need more space, just cut the oldest one.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, your layout does matter. That's why I kind of want to grade people's resumes to kind of showcase whose layouts kind of need work and what doesn't need work. But yes, layout does matter. The idea is that you want to utilize all of the page as much as you can if you have a lot to say, and then it's legible and easy to read. So if someone wants to read it within 30 seconds, they're able to see what category they want to look through and see exactly what you did. So just stay on call if you want to see your resumes reviewed. But thank you for joining this workshop that I put together. Thank you.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming today. Lyka had a lot of resume information to give out, and I think that everyone could benefit from what she said.
All right, so now we're just gonna go over the Q&A. If you have any club questions about any upcoming events, I believe Eric's gonna drop the link to our social media in the chat for you guys. So feel free to follow us. And we do have our general info email over here, info@csulbmaes.org. All right, so if anyone has any questions, upcoming events, I believe we still have officer positions.
Yeah, you could just email us if you guys are interested in any officer positions, but right now we're gonna just have Lyka do your resume reviews. So thank you for coming.